Happy summer season, everybody, and Tony here with my review of Puccini's Turandot with conductor Daniel Carter, which I saw at the Deutsche Oper Berlin. This marks the sixth time I caught Lorenzo Fiorani's production of Puccini's Turandot at the Deutsche Oper Berlin because I wanted to see, hear, witness, and experience SeokJong Baek perform the role of Calaf. I was quite curious to see how this particular was going to fare in the role of Calaf, because from what I read and from what I've been hearing about Mr. Baek, he seems to have been specializing in a lot of the Spinto and dramatic tenor roles. As I was reading through his biography, he started out as a baritone before transitioning into the Spinto slash dramatic tenor that he has been renowned for today. From roles such as Macduff from Verdi's Macbeth to the heavy hitters like Radames from Verdi's Aida, Sanson from Saint-Saëns, Sanson et Dalila, and even Pinkerton from Puccini's Madama Butterfly. He has definitely been accomplishing these roles, and I came into his performance of Calaf with not really wonderfully high expectations, but I went into his performance just with a completely open mind, and I was totally blown away by the quality of his voice as well as his overall manner in making the role of Calaf work extremely well for him. He was an absolutely dashing singing actor who had this charisma about him that was infectious and that made me want to be thoroughly involved with everything he had to offer. And in terms of his vocal prowess, he had an omnipresent and really potent voice that managed to be well heard all throughout the theater. He was able to sing over that orchestra with full abandon and full passion, and that is what you need in terms of tackling Calaf: an impassioned tone and a whole lot of chutzpah and confidence, which he was able to pull off so well. And especially when it came to his baritonal origins, you could hear the steel and the metal that he has in his voice, especially when he lunges the high notes, as well as have a go at the deeper chest tones. That is just how much of a thoroughly versatile singing actor SeokJong Baek truly was. One can ask for a lot more smoothness in his timbre, such as the ones found in Franco Corelli, who is deemed as the greatest Calaf of all time, or even a lot more precision of tone, such as the one found in Giacomo Lauri Volpi, again, one of the most exciting and the most pristine Calafs of all time, and even from voices such as Gianfranco Cecchelle, Bruno Prevedi, Francesco Merli, and even to some extent Jussi Björling, if you want someone more lyrical but clean, and Franco Bonisoli, who is the definition of completely balls to the wall. And I'm sure that a lot of you people will remember his 4 high C's when he launches at No, no, Principessa Altera, even though for some people it's not an excellent or great taste, while some would manage to be thoroughly woken up by those 4 high C's. But in terms of SeokJong Baek's vocal performance as Calaf, he was in absolutely fine form, even though he may not have the smoothest sounding of voices. The roughness, at least how I interpret it, adds a lot more ruggedness to his interpretation of Calaf. He's able to use that ruggedness to his advantage in terms of making Calaf determined to win over Turandot and show a lot of chutzpah, strength, and that daring facade of Calaf that made me want to salute SeokJong Baek's interpretation of the role. And even though there were times that he was kind of masky in the ah vowels, I thought he was able to pull everything off so magnificently to the point where I was in awe with everything he had to offer as Calaf. Therefore, I salute SeokJong Baek for his excellent and his intriguing portrayal of Calaf, even though his tone may not be to everybody's cup of tea. At least I will always defend him in terms of that ruggedness, that full-on abandon, and that absolute dedication that he has to his craft as a Spinto / dramatic tenor who is on the cusp of a lot more growth in his repertoire, as well as one that could guarantee a lot of excitement as a singing actor. Clemens Biba was, as always, pristine as Emperor Adom. He knew how to use his trademark lyric tenor voice to his advantage, and even though it does sound aged these days, considering that he had been singing throughout the 70s and the 80s, he definitely has awesome musicianship to back him up so superbly, to the point where I was enthralled with his performance as Emperor Adom. Kang Yoon-shin Lee's Bang was pristinely sung, all thanks to his mastery of bel canto singing, and I've always admired everything that Kang Yoon-shin Lee managed to produce with beauty, formidability, excitement, and every time he opens his mouth, it almost feels like I've just opened up a casket of jewelry, and there we go. Lots of rubies, pearls, diamonds, and sapphires, and emeralds. It's just a cascade of jewels pouring out of Kang Yoon-shin Lee's mouth that I was thoroughly taken aback with his trademark pristine musicianship. Speaking of pristine musicianship, I would also give that attribute to Thomas Chalufo as Bong, all thanks to his awesomely and wonderfully toned light lyric tenor voice with great bel canto singing, excellent focus and clarity, and wonderful acting skills, thoroughly involving from beginning to end, and an overall charisma that could barely be rivaled. And that is just how much Thomas Chalufo continues to win me over as a singing actor. I must also salute Ole Rantasepa for his fine interpretation of the Prince of Persia, and even though he sung that one line of Turandot, he at least sang it with full abandon. Byung-gil Kim grew in a lot more ruggedness, roundness, richness, and pathos as the old King Timur. I could definitely hear him conquer a lot more basso cantante / basso profondo roles, such as Marcel and Le Comte Sombri from Meyerbeer's Les Huguenots, Massimiliano Mur from Verdi's I Masnadieri, Pagano from Verdi's I Lombardi alla prima crociata, Filippo II from Verdi's Don Carlo, Don Rui de Gomes de Silva from Verdi's Hernani, Federico Barbarossa from Verdi's La Battaglia di Legnano, Conte Walter from Verdi's Luisa Miller, and many other fantastic roles that are ideal for Byung-gil Kim's crude, rough, yet thoroughly virile basso cantante voice. He has definitely come into his own as a basso cantante. His tone may not be to everybody's cup of tea, let alone to everybody's ears, considering how rough it can sound to the ears, but I thoroughly commend his involvement as a singing actor. I thoroughly commend his overall strength in terms of being a charismatic singing actor, and he just continues to win me over with every role that he continues to sing. Volodymyr Morozov was sturdy and handsome as the Mandarin, all thanks to his basso cantante voice. Mikhail Baghdadze was thoroughly characterful as Bing, all thanks to that wonderfully characterful and sufficiently round dramatic baritone voice, which he was able to produce with wonderful charisma. And he left me on the edge of my seat every time he had a go as Bing, and he managed to be wonderfully involving as a singing actor. Catherine Foster is no stranger to singing Turandot. In fact, this has been one of her signature roles for many years, and I first heard her live as Turandot 9 years ago, also at the Deutsche Oper Berlin. The experience that Catherine Foster continues to have as Turandot is thoroughly evident. She is fully aware that this is a princess, and a noble princess at that, and not just some rage and revenge filled executioner wannabe. She really has that nobility that makes her Turandot special in my eyes, especially evidenced in her creamy tone and that lushness and elegance that she produces. Yes, she might also be well known for her interpretations of Elektra, Isolde, and Brunhilde, as well as, of course, Turandot. But the lushness, the elegance, and the sheer womanly nature that she was able to produce as Turandot continues to be a treat for me. Sure, when it comes to Turandots that I love with a passion, I can never go wrong with the likes of Bianca Scacciatti and Gina Cinia, who are very well known in terms of their Italianate bel canto style in making Turandot a thoroughly complete character, or the Wagnerian powerhouses found in the likes of Erna Schluter, Christel Goltz, Gertrud Grob-Brandl, Birgit Nilsson, Ludmila Vorakova, Nadezhda Kniplova, and Gwyneth Jones, singing up storms upon storms as Turandot. And if we're talking about the complete package, as in the ones that really have great coordinated chest tones and great chest tones, you can't go wrong with Birgit Nilsson, Ludmila Vorakova, and Nadezhda Kniplova as the three aces of Turandots who really know how to use chest tones so magnificently, especially as Wagnerian sopranos. And that was kind of my nitpick against Catherine Foster's Turandot. I thought that some of her chest tones were a bit on the hollow side, and I thought that she could take advantage of them a lot more. Nevertheless, I still must give major props to Catherine Foster's elegance and for making Turandot a continuously involving character, all thanks to that elegant dramatic soprano voice that was able to be thoroughly inviting, as well as her top notes, which she blasted with full abandon, full passion, and full involvement. They may not have that electrifying sensation found in Gertrud Grob-Brandl or Birgit Nilsson, but Catherine Foster was a thoroughly musical, disciplined, and focused musician to the point where I salute her for all of her amazing efforts and for continuing to sing at a really great quality of a performance. Maria Motolegina was thoroughly engaging, wonderful, and was excellent, as always, as Liu. Her gorgeously ocean-like Spinto soprano voice made her a wonderful addition as Liu, and that phenomenal delivery in terms of her voice made her an amazing interpreter of Liu. She really had a voice that could sing over an orchestra and that could leave me at the edge of my seat every time she opened up her mouth to sing. That is just how much I continue to admire Maria Motolegina as one of the greatest singing actresses of today. It's all thanks to her pristine technique, and it's all thanks to how omnipresent her voice truly was. We also had Yuki Tamai and Sung Eun Oh contributing so well as the two handmaidens, all thanks to their creamy toned soprano voices. Overall, the singing was thoroughly astounding from everybody. I must give my flowers and garlands to SeokJong Baek for such a stirring rendition of Calaf. He really knew how to sing over that orchestra with full abandon. His steeliness and that willingness to be such a strong singing actor made me thoroughly engaged with what he had to offer and everything that he managed to produce. He produced with such engagement and such perseverance, strength, and a whole lot of excitement. He may not measure up to the likes of Franco Corelli, Giacomo Lauri Volpi, Francesco Merli, and even Daniele Barioni in terms of wonderful vocal majesty, but SeokJong Baek was in a class of his own, and he really nailed Calaf with everything that he got. He was also blessed to be in the company of Catherine Foster's continuously lush and elegant Turandot, and Maria Motoligina really being such an engagingly gorgeous Liu, because these two leading ladies managed to continue to show their strengths as performers, and they really nailed their respective roles with everything that they got. And I also must give my props and flowers to Clemens Biba as Altom, Byung-gil Kim as Timur, Micha Bachtadze as Bing, Kang Yun-shine Lee as Bang, Thomas Chalufo as Pong, and Volodymyr Morozov as the Mandarin for doing such excellent jobs in their respective roles. The conducting done by Daniel Carter was sufficiently big as well as engaging. Yes, there were some moments where he did kind of lag, but in spite of all that, he still managed to pick himself back up, and I could understand why he received some boos from some members of the audience, because it probably must have had something to do with some of those lagging moments. Nevertheless, I will still give Maestro Carter credit where credit is due in terms of him leading the orchestra so well, and the chorus and the orchestra of the Deutsche Oper Berlin were absolutely stunning, as they've always been. SeokJong Baek definitely sung up a storm tonight as Calaf. He had virility, he had that confidence about him, and I salute everything that he continuously accomplishes as a Spinto / dramatic tenor. He definitely had the vocal goods to make Calaf his own, and I can only wish him a lot more vocal growth, technical growth, and further inspiration, especially since he still has a lot to learn from the likes of Giacomo Lauri Volpi, Francesco Merli, and Franco Corelli, as well as Mario del Monaco and even the likes of Wolfgang Wingassen, those types of huge dramatic tenors that have a whole lot of squillo, and I'm pretty sure that he will definitely grow into his own as one of the finest dramatic tenors of today. And for those of you who caught this performance of Puccini's Turandot at the Deutsche Oper Berlin, what did you think of it? Did you feel that SeokJong Baek was wonderful as Calaf? Was there another singer who stole his thunder, whether it was Catherine Foster as Turandot, or Maria Motolegina as Liu, or Jungil Kim as Timur, Volodymyr Morozov as the Mandarin, Mikhail Bakhtadze as Bing, Kang Yunshine Lee as Bang, and Thomas Chalufo as Bong, or even Clemens Biba as Emperor Tom? Or do you feel like Seokjong Baek's singing was not really to your liking, and you feel like it was serviceable at best and mediocre at worst? Please let me know in the comments below. Well, that's it for my review of Puccini's Turandot starring Seokjong Baek as Calaf, and tune in next time for another review. In the meantime, please subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Please like this video and continue to engage with me in terms of the content I have to offer. Take care, everybody.